Good morning, everybody. This build is very, very special. And not because it's a sorcerer. I mean, sorcerer's a very standard class. But no, this build is the first build I'm adding to the new build repository. For those of you that don't know, Dungeons & Dragons Online has swapped to a brand new forum. It's pretty and has all sorts of fantastic features and great organizational bits. However, the downside is that the old forum has been turned into read-only mode, so all of my builds exist, but you can only read them. You can't comment in them or anything like that, so I'm going to be keeping them around in the old build repository, which will be build repository 1, but then I'm building a new, more current repository that will be put on the new forums. Now, as of time of recording, the old DDO forums are down temporarily, so if you watch this video like the day it comes out, unfortunately, you won't be able to see the old builds again for a little bit. Hopefully they get that back up soon. And then worst case scenario, I will try to dig through some archives and get some stuff uploaded, but it should be a very temporary outage. Anyways, let's get on to the build, because today I got a doozy for you. You see, Sorcerer is a very good class. I've made a lot of videos about Sorcerer this year, because it's just so much fun. For those of you that don't know what a Sorcerer is, it's like a wizard, but you have less spell selection, and for that simple sacrifice, you get more spell points and double casting speed. That's right, double. You cast at twice the speed. You have shorter cooldowns, and you cast twice as fast. This makes you an arcane cannon. And previously, I put together a Fire Sorcerer build because Fire Sorcerer is super duper strong. But this build is a little bit weird. You see, not only am I playing as an Air Sorcerer, constantly pulsing out lightning spells, but most importantly, I'm a half-elf. You see, half-elves can take the Dragon Mark of Storm. And this Dragon Mark is borderline useless. Most of the abilities you get with it don't really do anything. However, you do get one extra magical ability called Call Lightning Storm. Now, this is a druid spell, and admittedly, it's kind of a mediocre druid spell. Like, it's not bad, but it's definitely not the cornerstone of your character build. So why is it exciting to have it here as a sorcerer? Well, it's a bit of a quirk on how the caster level system works. You see, whenever you decide to cast a spell, the game needs to calculate your caster level. For any class spell, it's just your class level. It's pretty straightforward. So if I'm a level 12 druid, then my caster level for druid spells is 12. And then that will determine how much damage or other effects my spell has based on what it has in the description. Some classes can gain increases to the caster level of their spells, and Sorcerer is one of those classes. As a sorcerer, your Savant trees, like I took the Air Savant, increases the caster level of all of my lightning and sonic spells. So what exactly that means is that if I cast a lightning bolt, which is an air spell, but I put points in the Air Savant tree, it will actually cast at a higher level, therefore dealing more damage. Now, one of the main issues with trying to really capitalize on this system is maximum caster level. Every single spell in the game, or at least for the most part, has a built-in maximum caster level, meaning the damage doesn't just scale up infinitely. This is one of the reasons why in my Fire Sorcerer guide, I recommend that you upgrade from Fireball, the 3rd level spell, to Delayed Blast Fireball, the 7th level spell, because Fireball stops scaling at level 10, whereas Delayed Blast Fireball goes all the way up to level 20. Lightning Sorcerer has similar problems, where you start with Lightning Bolt, which is great, but then it stops scaling at level 10. However, Chain Lightning, which you can pick up at level 12, continues to scale all the way up to level 20. So you do have to upgrade and take higher level spells, and this is exactly why we take Call Lightning Storm here. You see, on a druid, Call Lightning Storm is simply based off of your druid caster level, which, if you're a pure druid, is 20, which is pretty good. Now, if you do happen to be a cold druid using the water elemental form, you will gain, I believe it is 2 caster levels on your winter spells, which includes lightning, and so your Call Lightning Storm will be cast level 22 instead of 20. Call Lightning Storm is unique in that it doesn't actually have a maximum caster level, which is pretty cool. On top of that, epic levels give you an extra caster level for every 2 levels that you have. So a level 32 caster gets an extra 6 levels, so all in all, your druid will be casting Call Lightning Storm at level 28. That means that it will last for a longer duration and also do more damage when it hits targets passively. However, this is why we play as the Sorcerer and the Half-Elf. You see, because the Call Lightning Storm from the Dragon Mark is a half-elf ability, the caster level that it uses isn't based on your class, because that wouldn't make sense. It's a half-elf ability, not a sorcerer ability. As a result, racial abilities have to use your character level to determine their caster level. So, if I'm a level 20 sorcerer, when I use Call Lightning Storm from Half Elf, it's a level 20 Call Lightning Storm. But it continues to scale. As I go up to level 32, well, my character level is 32, so my Call Lightning Storm is level 32. But wait, there's more. As a sorcerer, sorcerers get a total of +7 to the caster level of their lightning spells. So that brings my caster level all the way up to 39. But wait, you get even more caster levels because you get 6 for playing in epics, which brings your caster level up to 45. Now comparing that 28 on druid to 45 on sorcerer, your Call Lightning Storm is lasting almost twice as long and doing almost double the damage. On top of the fact that it's way easier to scale lightning spell power on a sorcerer, and you can bypass lightning immunity on a sorcerer. And that is why I put this character together, to maximize the Call Lightning Storm and basically just walk around and watch enemies explode around me. So the question is a level 45 Call Lightning Storm good? And the answer is it's kinda good. You see, it has a couple problems. The first is that during the leveling process, it really just doesn't last that long anyway, so I would recommend picking it up by around level 12, but not really before level 12 because it just doesn't last that long. Call Lightning Storm only gives you 3 seconds per caster level, so I picked it up I think around level 5 or 6, but then each Call Lightning Storm is only lasting like 30 seconds at most, and it's just not long enough. But by level 12 it starts to feel a lot better. And by endgame, your Call Lightning Storms will last the whole quest, so it's not really something you need to worry about. Additionally, in late heroics, the Call Lightning Storm damage, it's good, it's strong, but it will slow down a little bit just because monsters really start to spike up in health before the end of heroics really quickly, and so the Call Lightning Storm won't feel as strong. However, once you get the chance to jump into epics, holy moly, the Call Lightning Storm is all of a sudden just starting to one-shot enemies left and right. And again, this is because your Call Lightning Storm gains both levels every time you level up, and additional levels for being in epics. And the cool thing about it is it's just passive. It's just blasting everything that's nearby you. So you can just cast Call Lightning Storm and then do your regular sorcerer thing. Dash through quests, casting nothing but Chain Lightning, Ball Lightning, and Thunderstroke, or Lightning Dragon Breath, or whatever it is you want to do. And then randomly, monsters halfway across the room are getting completely one-shot. It heavily juices your single target damage against bosses, and it's unbelievably valuable. It has some of the best throughput in terms of its cost per damage point value, because like it doesn't even have a spell point cost, and you can just at the end game have this thing going for almost 10 minutes blasting monsters for 20,000 damage a pop every 3 seconds. So I had a blast leveling this character. It was super fun. Now, I will give you a couple tips for playing around with Sorcerer. The first one is you're going to want to take for the leveling process both lightning and fire spells. Very few monsters are immune to lightning and fire, and by the time you get to those monsters, you can bypass immunities because you'll be at least level 12. The first monsters that happen to be immune to lightning and fire would be Blue Abishai, and they spawn in the 11 level quest Mad Tea Party. But by the time you get to Mad Tea Party, you generally are level 13, so you should have the ability to bypass lightning immunity from the tier 5 of the Air Savant tree. So by taking both lightning and fire spells, you can pretty much cruise through the entire leveling process. That and the fact that all the air spells are really bad until you get to Lightning Bolt. So before Lightning Bolt, you can grab like Burning Hands and stuff to give you some extra damage. Then once you get level 4, you take Scorch, and you just quickly scorch your way through the entire game. And then once you get to level 6, grab Fireball, then at level 7, grab Lightning Bolt, and then for the leveling process, you pretty much just alternate between Fireball and Lightning Bolt until every single monster that has ever existed has then died. You continue up like this, grabbing both Ball Lightning and Chain Lightning, then Delayed Blast Fireball for your 7th level spell, and that should carry you all the way through up to level 20. And then, of course, from there, you're a Sorcerer with millions of mana points, and you can just cast so many spells. God, Sorcerer just feels so good in epics, and I had an amazing time with it. However, there is the question that I think some people will want addressed. Is this the best Sorcerer? And the answer is no. Cold Sorcerer is still better, because Cold is able to scale more critical damage in the endgame, which will give you more single target damage, again, in the endgame. So if you're looking for the top 1 ultimate number 1 damage build, Cold Sorcerer is still the way to go, but I had an awesome time with this one. I got to play with the half-elf, which had its visual revamp, which was pretty cool, so the characters looked great. And honestly, it was just really, really fun to see a monster when I opened a door and then watch it instantly get smoked before I could even do anything to it, as the lightning bolt struck down from the sky and told it that no, it does not exist anymore. So honestly, I just enjoyed myself, and this might have something to do with Sorcerer being my favorite class, but this is a good way to try it out. So if you did want to make a very high-level Call Lightning Storm build, Sorcerer is pretty much your go-to. Now, if you want to know how to build this character, pay attention to me with the build. You too can become the breeze with Air Sorcerer, allowing you to soar through the skies and fly basically anywhere you want, while dealing tremendously high amounts of lightning damage if you just follow these quick and simple tips. First, my character is Strimtom, the half-elf lightning sorcerer. Now, this character I went with Air Savant the entire way, and some of you might be wondering, why are you a half-elf, Strimtom? They don't get any particularly good bonuses for sorcerers in particular. But there is a reason, and it's because of the Dragon Mark. I don't know, is that just here? Yeah, Least Dragon Mark of the Storm. You see, when you upgrade the Least Dragon Mark of the Storm, it turns into Call Lightning Storm, and Call Lightning Storm has a weird property, which is that it has no maximum caster level. Now, some of you might not know exactly what that means, but caster level is basically, I'm a level 20 sorcerer, I'm a level 20 caster level, and then you can get bonuses in other places. Caster level determines the strength of your spells, but most spells have maximums. So, easy example, Chain Lightning, it says D&D dice, 20 damage, or a d6 plus 6 damage per caster level, maximum of 20. So once you get to level 20, Chain Lightning stops getting better whenever you level up. However, because Call Lightning Storm has no maximum, and it's a racial ability, it uses your character level. So it actually uses level 32. But then it gets all my lightning bonuses, and then it gets epic bonuses, and it gets really high really fast. And that was kind of the basis for this idea and build. So, that's why we're a half-elf. This character uses Charisma and Constitution as the most important stats, and you have some defensive ability. I didn't fully gear this character, but you can get a lot higher than this, because sorcerers are easily able to wear both shields and medium armor throughout the entire process. As far as your skills go, they don't really matter. Use Magic Device is important, because you want to be able to heal yourself and raise the dead, but after that, Spellcraft gives you damage, Concentration is good when you don't have Quicken during the leveling process, and I took Bluff, because, why not? As far as your feats go, again, the feats are pretty straightforward. You take basically all of the good meta magic feats, Quicken, Maximize, Heighten, Empower. Normally I'd say you don't take Heighten, but in this character you actually cast Ball Lightning and Chain Lightning constantly, and so getting an extra 3 and 4 different extra spell DCs for those spells is very nice. Important note, you can't Heighten Call Lightning Storm. It's not technically a spell, it's a spell-like ability, so you can't Heighten it. And then on top of that, you have to take the Dragon Mark of the Storm, which is important. And then I also elected to take the Spell Focus feats for Spell Focus Evocation, because again, that just seemed like a really good idea at the time. And then on top of that, for your epic feats, you're going to be picking up all the good stuff. Wellspring of Power is a damage cooldown, Intensify and Embolden to improve the power of your spells, and then Burst of Glacial Wrath, because you don't have any crowd control, and that's the only way you get it. And then epic Destiny feats, Lightning damage, more damage to helpless targets, Deific Warding, and then toughness here for some extra hit points. As far as spells go, I went pure lightning because I was doing it as a joke. I would recommend that you generally want to go lightning and fire. You're going to want to be picking up Scorch and Fireball especially. Once you get level 5 and level 6 spells, you don't really need the fire spells anymore, especially because Chain Lightning is super crazy. But especially for the leveling process, Lightning Loop or Electric Loop is complete garbage, and Scorch is 100 bajillion times better, so just take Scorch, and then again, Fireball pairs very nicely with Lightning Bolt, so you can Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, Fireball, Lightning Bolt, which is very cool. Now, as far as the enhancements go, my setup is as such. If you're missing 1 or 2 points, you can kind of just shave some points out of Air Savant, because I put a bunch of extra in here, and you can also shave some Charisma here, so again, it's not that big of a deal, but the gist of it is I grabbed all the crit, I grabbed all of these spell construction on my meta magic feats out of the Air Savant tree and all of the cores. Eldritch Knight gives a bunch of tankiness, universal spell power, health, physical, magical resistance rating out of these enhancements here, as well as the ability to wear medium armor without any spell failure, which is nice, so my character can fully wear shields. You'll notice I didn't take shield training, and that's because proficiency with shields does not grant you any defensive bonuses. It just means that it doesn't impair your ability to attack people. But I don't attack people, so I don't need proficiency, and even if you did, you could just take Master's Touch, which again, you don't need. The bread and butter here is the half-elf tree, in which you get the Dragon Mark focus, so you can cast the Greater Dragon Mark of the Storm. which is, again, the magic here. It casts at level 45 once you're actually fully maxed out, which means this does 7 to 12 damage times 45, which is pretty good as a baseline, and it lasts for 2 minutes and 15 seconds, which is huge. So your character is going to have a very long-lasting lightning storm. Now, granted, you only get 4 of these, although you can get more by getting the Greater Citrine of Dragon Marks out of Saltmarsh for an extra 2, I believe it is. So your character can get a couple extra uses of this for a total of 12 minutes. But honestly, most quests in DDO are not that much longer than 8 minutes, especially at the end game. So you will be able to blast through these pretty quickly, and the damage is pretty nice. I found that for my character, it was hitting for about an average of around 13,000 damage. That's averaging crits and non-crits with just my current stats is what you'd be expecting, which is pretty good. You're basing it a one-shot something if they get hit by a critical strike in elite difficulty, and then as you go up in Reaper mode, you know, it's just adding some additional damage, or about 4,000-ish damage on bosses, which is kind of nice. During the leveling process, the way that I did this is actually pretty straightforward, because I was dumb. I didn't take any fire spells. I used melee a lot, because the lightning spells are really bad. So I just used, like, the Eldritch Knight tree for until, like, level 5 or 6 when I got Lightning Bolt. However, if you do this properly, you'll take Scorch at 4 and probably taking Burning Hands, at which point you'd want to use some Fire Savant. I like having these 3 points in Fire Savant for the leveling process because it's just really nice. And you can kind of leave the half-elf stuff for later. Greater Dragon Mark of the Storm doesn't really start getting good until around level 12, 13-ish, because it just lasts too short of a time. So Air Savant first, Fire Savant again for the leveling process, and then kind of respec out the other way around. I didn't take the spell-like abilities because they're really expensive. This spell is bad, this spell is bad, so you're going to be spending like so many points to get only Lightning Bolt. By the time you get Lightning Bolt, you don't really need it. So again, the spell-like ability is not as useful here. Kind of just get some spell points and be ready to use some shrines as you go through the leveling process. Now, we then have Epic Destinies, and this one, again, is going to be pretty straightforward. I don't think there's going to be a lot of confusion here if you know spellcasters, but basically, Draconic Incarnation here, picking up Dragon Breath because it's good, picking up Gaping Maw because it's good, grabbing all the offensive stuff, mana cost reduction, spell power, and elemental resistance bypass. Again, stuff that's just really self-explanatory in a sorcerer. You're trying to kill people, and that's the most important part. Now, Primal Avatar is here because you get access to Thunder Snow, which hits like a super truck, and Mantle of Nature's Sky, which does 2 things. One, it adds a bunch of damage to your spells because you can get access to Thunder Snow and other lightning spells, but also Evergreen is nice because this gives you a bunch of extra spell points and temporary spell points, which you need because your character is very mana hungry. I just leave all my meta magic feats on, and I can do that because of 15% spell cost reduction, reduced cost of Maximize and Quicken, as well as Evergreen here, giving me tons of spell points back, so I can just run through quests casting everything I want, and I don't really run out of spell points. Unyielding Sentinel gives Divine Energy Resistance, which is good, and then healing. I really like Renewal, and I kind of just love having it on pretty much every character, Sorcerers included. It just makes you so much stronger, especially considering Sorcerer's already a very, very strong class. But yeah, it's really fun. Glad to have this one here, like the Unyielding Sentinel. You don't have to use it. Another option, if you don't want this, you can dump some points in a Primal Avatar, don't spend on here, get rid of Unyielding Sentinel, and go with Fatesinger to pick up the extra spell cost reduction, as well as some more universal spell power. But again, I like Unyielding Sentinel, so that's what I did. As far as equipment goes on this type of build, you're looking for a few things. Number 1, lightning abilities. You want items to give you lightning spell power and lightning critical, because it's important. Again, fire, if you're using some of the fire spells during the leveling process, is also good. You also want to get items that are granting you charisma, so when you look for anything that's got charisma on it, as well as any spell DCs, specifically evocation is what you're looking for, because all your spells are evocation spells. You want defensive stuff, constitution, physical sheltering, magical sheltering, stuff that's going to protect you from damage. These things are quite important for the longevity of your character. And then again, outside of that, basic stuff. Spell point items, move up armor whenever you get the chance. So once you get the ability to wear light armor out of the Eldritch Knight tree, start wearing light armor. Once you get the ability to wear medium armor out of the Eldritch Knight tree, start wearing medium armor. That sort of thing. So that's what you're going to want to be doing. So yeah, that's pretty much what I would recommend. I don't have a full endgame gear set here in this video because I didn't do it yet, but you'll be able to have that endgame gear set if you check the build in the description, so you'll be able to see that one. Now this build is likely going to be the last build that's posted on the old DDO forums, at which point all the builds are going to be going to the new DDO forums when they actually release, so just keep that in mind. If you go into the description of this video, I'm going to be placing a link for going back through all of them, and placing a link for the repository, so all the links are there, but some of the links will probably break, so just bear that in mind. There's going to be the transitionary period, so that might happen to you while you're checking this out. But I hope you have some fun with Air Sorcerer. This character was super fun, and I enjoyed playing it, leveling it, and doing all sorts of stuff, and especially partying it out on the top of the rooftop here in Sharn, right above the tavern. Pulling everybody out of bounds was a really fun adventure, and it could only be done thanks to Air Sorc. That's not true. It was all probability. But again, thank you so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, make sure you follow, like, and subscribe, and all of that nonsense. Air Sorcerify that subscribe button, and I will see you all next time. Goodbye.